The title of uh, my second abstract is the microstructural injury to perisylvanian white matter predicts language decline after brain RT, quantitative analysis of prospective trial. The authors are Michel de Tips et al.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Radiation causes measurable microstructural injury. There's the dose-dependent damage to brain tissue, as we can see in the right side of picture in the red color. The microstructure damage is represented by volumetric MRI for the volume atrophy and diffusion tensor imaging biomarkers like fractional anisotropy decrease and mean diffusivity increase. These biomarkers associated with the neurocognitive decline like language. The perisylvanian areas are responsible for language. Language functioning is known to localize the perisylvanian brain regions. Left side language dominant. There's a 95% of right-handed populations and 70 to 85% of left-handed populations. As we can see in the right side of multiple slices of MRI, there's a green colored structures. We can show the Broca's area, which is responsible for the expression of the language, and the Wernicke's area is a blue coloring structure, which is responsible for the receptive and comprehensive uh, area for the language. And the lower inferior structure with the sagittal section of the MRI brain. The cyan colored structure is the temporal superior longitudinal fasciculus, and the violet colored structure is the inferior longitudinal fasciculus, and the orange colored structure is the inferior fronto-occipital fasciculus, and the whitish rays-like structures above. These are the corpus callosum. They divide. According to this trial, there is two aims for the radiation dose and longitudinal language functioning. The M1 is the assess correlations between RT dose and longitudinal volume, fractional anisotropy, and mean diffusivity within perisylvanian structures. The hypothesis is increased dose will correlate with longitudinally decreased volume, decreased fractional anisotropy, and increased mean diffusivity. The second aim is investigate biomarkers of injury with perisylvanian regions as longitudinal predictors of language functioning. The hypothesis is the biomarkers of microstructural injury within left-sided perisylvanian white matter regions will be longitudinal predictor of for poorer language functioning scores. The study design, the prospective observational study of the primary brain tumor patterns. The inclusion criteria are the age should be more than 18 years, treated with fractionated partial brain RT, KPS should be more than 70, life expectancy should be more than 1 year, and patient should be English speaker. On the baseline, the total number of cases, they take 41 cases, and post RT, the follow-up of 3 months, the number of cases decreased up to 33, and in follow-up of 6 months, the 35 cases, and after 1 year, 28 cases. They did on baseline and follow-up duration, the neurocognitive assessment and MRIs. They used two tools for the neurocognitive assessment of language. First one is the Boston naming test. This measures lexical knowledge, retrieval, visual cues triggering semantic knowledge. As we can see in the right side of the picture, this looks like a broom. This is the visual cues, and in this test, there is no latency period. And the second one is the Davis-Kaplan Executive Function System, the category fluency, that is DCAPS CF, measures semantic fluency, lexical knowledge, lexical retrieval, or recall. It has the latency period of 60 seconds that generate exemplars of categories like animals, boys' names, and this study the speeded and sensitive to small changes in function. The statistical analysis, the longitudinal analysis, the linear mixed effects modeling. Random subject-specific intercepts accounts for the within-subject correlation between the repeated measures incomplete outcomes. Time is a main factor. The models for the M1 is a biomarkers of injury of region of interest, and the models for the M2, the language score. Mean dose to Pennsylvania white matter regions. In left side brain region, the maximum dose received by the Broca's area, that is 18.79 Gray. In the right side, the inferior fronto-occipital fasciculus, there is 17.28 Gray. Those to right and left region of interest are not statistically different. Mean dose is a predictor of volume. In the left side, only the Wernicke's area is a significant, and that's at 0.015. And in the right side, all the fasciculus of arcuate fasciculus are significant. Those to right and left region of interest predicts for the decrease in volume. Mean dose is a predictor of fractional anisotropy. In the left side brain region, there's all arcuate fasciculus are significant. In the right side, there's a Wernicke's area, and the inferior longitudinal fasciculus and inferior fronto-occipital fasciculus are significant. Those to right and left region of interest predict for decrease in fractional anisotropy. Mean dose is a predictor of mean diffusivity. The left side on the inferior longitudinal fasciculus and inferior fronto-occipital fasciculus and temporal superior longitudinal fasciculus are significant. In the right side, there is no regions are significant. Those to left region of interest predicts for increase in mean diffusivity, and the directionality indicates a white matter injury. In this table, as we can see in the left side, brain regions, which is the red boundary, there's a Broca's area for the volume, Broca's area, and the inferior longitudinal fasciculus, and the inferior fronto-occipital fasciculus, and temporal superior longitudinal fasciculus are significant. And in the for the fractional anisotropy on the temporal superior longitudinal fasciculus and inferior fronto-occipital fasciculus are significant. For the Boston naming test, and for the DCAPS score system, the Broca's area, there's a volume and fractional anisotropy are significant, and in the inferior longitudinal fasciculus, the only fractional anisotropy, and for the temporal superior longitudinal fasciculus is only the fractional anisotropy and mean diffusivity are significant. So imaging biomarkers of injury as predictors of language score. The only biomarkers of injury of left-sided region of interest predict for poorer language functioning. The biomarkers of injury as predictors of language scores. As we can see in this table in the left side of the brain regions, for the Boston naming score, the volume of the Broca's area is significant, and the volume of the Wernicke's area is significant, and the arcuate fasciculus, the inferior longitudinal fasciculus, and inferior fronto-occipital fasciculus, and temporal superior longitudinal fasciculus are significant. In the raw DCAPS score, the volume and fractional anisotropy, fractional anisotropy only are significant in Broca's area, and the fractional anisotropy of the inferior longitudinal fasciculus and the inferior fronto-occipital and the temporal superior longitudinal fascicular are significant. The biomarkers of injury of left-sided region of interest predict for the poorer language function. In the right side, there is no significant element. The conclusion and recommendations. The conclusions are the longitudinal neuroimaging biomarkers of injury to left-sided pericerebral regions are significant predictors of language functioning, particularly the volume and fractional anisotropy. These biomarkers are shown associated with radiation-induced microstructural damage. The future directions, the potential targets are for those evidence to maximize longitudinal language functioning. Thank you for listening.